and in other key sectors, manufacturing and all, so on and so forth. So when you not bring this youth on board to flowchart the policies that affect their future, it's definitely youthing the youths.
All right, Mr. Kabir,
yeah.
how well, in your experience, probably as a youth leader, how well can you say that the Nigerian government has really engaged the Nigerian youth? Just give us of how well uh, government at any state, really, whether states of national or national, how well have they actually engaged the Nigerian youth?
Well, I cannot say that the government have fully employed Nigerian youth or have come together with them to table issues. I think the only thing happening here in Nigerian Youth Parliament, whereby I think per state, the Nigerian government picked 3 representatives from each state to make the Nigerian Youth Parliament, and that it's nothing but political. The policies they made there is not what transpired and transformed, and I think what they are doing there is more of cities, and even the nominees from each state are not people that supposed to have been nominated, but they are political boys of the state governors that make the Nigerian Youth Parliament. So I can say that Nigeria is doing well in bringing the youth on board, and it is too bad that the Nigerians are not employing the youth and bringing them on board to flowchart policies that affect the national development. So
All
I
right,
can boldly say that
okay,
it is
go
very
ahead.
low.
Okay, Kabir, can we be
government,
more specific now? Because in your own words, you said that the policies as regards youths, they're usually more political than not. Can we be
yes.
specific now? Can you give us the background story behind the Empower initiative that was designed for the youth? Can you give us a story behind the Empower initiative?
The Empower, as was rightly said, is a trial and error economic policy. It was meant for the youth to promote the youth in terms of sure education and to employ them. However, before Empower, there are other policies that which they are not working. And I could remember I was part of the energy, and we have been advocating for other policies that we work out for Nigeria, but on neglecting these policies. Empower is a trial and error policy which have worked and failed. Before Empower, there is Shopee during the national agenda of former President Goodluck Jonathan. It has also failed. And we look deep into all these policies and see that, okay, we understood what is making these policies to work. And there are other policies, even the extra grantee scheme, and they are all policies that we employed here in Nigeria are policies that are not working. They are trial and error policies. So we get to understand that, okay, where are these problems rising from, and how can we tackle this problem? We have been writing articles, writing papers, sending to the government that, okay, this should be the way forward, and we should stop neglecting the youth, and this is how we can flowchart policies are more effective for the Nigerian growth and economic development. But they keep on neglecting it. They decide on what they think is much more better for them. So Empower is a trial and error economic policy which I think does not satisfy its own needs. And I can boldly tell you that Empower did not achieve 40% of its objective.
All right, Kabir. Why do you think this policy failed? And also, do you think, or what's your take, would youth being in politics make any difference? First of all, why did the policy fail? And if the youth are in politics, do you think there will be any difference per se?
I think The major reason why the policies failed is the attitude of Nigerians and those in position who make the policies. I think most of these policies which have made, they don't implement it 100%. There's time lag, which is one of the factors that make it failed. And another reason why these policies failed is because their implementation lags. When implementing it, you cannot just wake up today and say that, okay, we are implementing this to Nigeria. And after some time, you break it down. And when it comes to stakeholders, they don't follow up on what they're doing. They will be in office in either Abuja or Lagos, chart policies, create a link where people uh, feel, and after that, they make disbursement of money or the agricultural tools. They don't follow up to see how far it is going and what are the major problems that can cause that, which we can tackle on time. So, and most of these policies are being made by suits policymakers. They are only in office. They don't even understand the current situation in the nation. They don't understand the attitude of Nigerians. They just presume and bring policies that is being made for developed countries, bring to developing nation like Nigeria, which will never, definitely not work. So these are some of the reasons why these policies are failing.
All right, Mr. Kabir, you have made it abundantly clear that there's a clear disconnection between the governed and those who are governing. They don't have an idea of what it is the youths are going through. You just, elaborated on that fact. So as a youth leader, what have you or your group have been doing? What has your group done to close this gap a little bit and see how you can take issues from the grassroots to the government?
Okay. I happen to be the program officer of Ready to Run movement. Is a youth movement that promotes democracy and transparency. I think all projects been made for our own state. I'm from Gombe State. So every project that is being made, either constituency project, either federal project or what project, we track it from day one to the end. We make sure that they utilize the resources they budgeted and get up to standard. And we create awareness to youth, try to bring them on board to let them understand the problem we're facing, and this is where we can follow to tackle these problems. However, it's more difficult governing Nigerians, I understand, because everyone has his own mentality. You might bring youth on board, telling them, okay, these are the things that will help you, and at the end of the day, they will change from what you have narrated for them and do something different. So our own end, I know we keep on enlightening the youth. We keep on following on projects that are meant for us, and we make sure that all these projects must have achieved its own goals and objectives. So,
Hi, Kabir. What are the major challenges you faced as a youth leader? What are the major challenges you face in tackling some of these policies or doing the things, your aim and objective of your units?
I think the major obstacle I usually had, or I and my group usually had, is lack of more cooperation from our youth. Sometimes we have an issue to deliberate on. We bring on the issue, we invite them, and clearly someone will be telling that this is not going to work out. Meanwhile, we know when we work extremely hard on it, it's going to work out for us. But someone would like discourage you and tell you, okay, we should just stop this, we should not even go there. This is not going to work out for us. And these are the things that kills our spirit, it kills our morale when trying to see our countries getting much more better. However, notwithstanding, we keep on pushing, we do not stop, and we are not going to stop until we see Nigeria becomes a great country.
So not just the governments and their policies, and not just the issues. You have both issues with the youth as well.
Yeah, majorly, as wisely said by Aristotle, poverty is the mother of crime and revolution. Most of our youth are uh, whenever happening, we try to come in. Sometimes we make donation. We bring youth on board to make sure that everything is going perfectly right. But still, yet the attitude of the Nigerians, the mindset of our youth, it's something that we have to extremely work on because it's actually discouraging. And the youth are the rock of every nation. They are the bedrock of development. I think Nigeria has about 70% youth. So if as of 2002, we have 151 million youth in Nigeria doing nothing because, as the leaders rightly said, that we are lazy. Meanwhile, we are not. But some of us that decides to meet for the people thinks that we are lazy have already done that, and it's so facilitating that the attitude of our leaders is like somehow colliding that it's more difficult for us to point what is right for nation.
All right, Mr. Kabiru, uh,
Um,
just as a follow-up to what my colleague asked, right, you said there are issues with the policies, there are issues with the minds of the youths, right? And my question to you really is, do you think the Nigerian youth, they are ready for leadership? Because I do remember my colleague asking you, do you think youths going into politics will actually help in this situation? But you also mentioned that there's a mindset issue. So what do you think? Do you think our youths are really the leaders up to as anticipated? And if you think that there's a lapse, which you have of course mentioned, what are the things, some of the strategies that your group has put in place to see that the youths are minded and more trained towards leadership?
and we partner with Dandeli Motors Initiative for Rapid Development. There is a program we usually design personal development. The program is trying to let someone know his personal potentials, to know about self-awareness, and more of morals and integrity. So we have been working on that for about like 2 years now, and we thank God it has been working because a lot of mindset of the Nigerian youth have been changing, and people
What are some
try
of
to
the
realize
impacts that you have registered from this initiative? What are some of the impacts
that
seen? Yes.
the impact include that initially there are some people that don't even vote. They are political, but with the help of this program, they all got their PVC. They are ready now. By 2027, we are going to see differences, and we try to make sure that we remove that option of spaghetti, sugar, or money politics they into, and they get to accept the fact that okay, they have made mistakes years before now, but with the help of the program, they read us that we have changed them and they are going to be on the right path. They are going to make use of what they learned from our place and put it more on board. And they have been encouraging their parents and even some of their peers. And the program, I think, we graduated about 1,000 members on more. And it's very impactful because we have seen a lot of changes. I think there are some set of people who employ these youths after the training. Some give them startup pack for business for those that are not in business, and for those that are in business, we try to promote what they do, and it's really helpful. We can see a lot of changes in the last 2 years because I think there is someone I met was even smoking when we went to talk to them about the program when they for the 3 weeks program. After the program, his life has totally changed, and he's a better person today.
All right, Kabir. Let's talk about sponsorship support. Have you gotten any sponsorship or support from anywhere?
Actually, we did not got any sponsorship or support from. What we usually do is that with the stakeholders in program, we bring money out of our own business, out of our own pocket to finance these projects. And we have been
Have
doing
you
it
reached
now
out
for
to
two
any
years.
authorities, probably on youth development, to get help and you allowed or declined?
Yeah, I think then the matters, I think the coordinator told us that he has written about 3 or 4 times, still waiting for response from organizations and even government, but still today there is no any response.
What government policy did
Regard-
you?
I think I actually happened. I think I'm not the one in charge of that. I
Okay,
cannot actually tell
okay.
you the name of the organization, but I know we written to Randall Matters, and they told us, they replied to us that they have written, I think, 3 times. They are also waiting for a reply. To today, there is no another reply.
All right, Mr. Kabir, quite recently we heard of what happened where the Bangladeshi youth actually were mobilized and they changed the political scene in Bangladesh. What are some of the lessons you feel the Nigerian youth can draw from that event in Bangladesh?
Well, I think Nigerian youth and Bangladesh had different mindsets. I like this mindset because the way we think is not the way other people think. And Bangladesh, not just Bangladesh, I think we saw what happened in Kenya, we saw what happened in Bangladesh also. The transformation or changing governments does not just overstood one day. I think it's something that they have been planning for a long period. And when you take someone to the wall, when he's trying to come back, he come back with a force. I think they have been feeling the pain of democracy. I think it's all working out for them. So that is why they decided to push back in a harder force, which led to what happened today in Bangladesh. Nigeria are not ready. The Nigerian youth are not ready. Let me just say it. Very few are working towards the development of this nation. I can boldly tell you that when you have 100 youth, 50% of that 100 youth are for their own self-interest. They are not for the nation. And that's why it's much more easy for the government or the politicians to use them and to achieve their own personal also. So Nigeria has a distinct difference between us and youth, the mindset, and that of Bangladesh.
Kabir,
Uh,
you've mentioned mindset quite a number of times, and I would now like to ask, what thing can be done to educate people, to make them understand, to change the mind course, the way people think, that's the way they react. So how do you think that we can work on the mindset of the youth to become better, to become much more productive one?
well, changing the mindset is not an easy challenge, but there are a number of ways we can use, and which we have now and we are still using, and to get to realize that it's working for us. And these youths need to be bring on board. You need to bring them closer to you, to understand their problems, to understand their needs. If today you see someone taking drugs, you cannot just judge him by saying that he's a drug addict, he's a drunk. This you have to understand what's taking him into that drugs. What is the problem? How can you help him out? And sometimes when you are discussing with these people, you understand. Okay, they lack financial support, they lack parental care, they lack that. Some will even tell you that they are graduates, they don't have job to do. They applied more than 100 times, they got rejected, and before you know, they enter into social vices, drugs, into violent acts and banditry, and so on and so forth. When we bring this youth on board, trying to let them know that okay, you can do more better with your life. I think it will be an easier way to tackle the problem and changing their own mindset. Because the mindset is everything. You having the mindset that is clear is extremely good and much more better for you than anything. So changing the mindset of Nigerian is not an easy task. When you bring them close to you, talk to them, understand their problem, and you can see how you can change their own way of thinking, their way of life, and you can make your own impacts on them.
All right, Mr. Kabir, before we let you go, very quickly, you have mentioned things around performing root cause analysis and needs assessment to find out what really is the problem, why they think the way they think, so that it can be, properly addressed. So, the question to you is: aside hardship and hunger, what are some of the barriers you feel are militating against this change in mindset to become more productive for the Nigerian youth?
Well, I think there are limited economic opportunities because most of these youth they're in hunger, they're in poverty, they're unemployed. When they have a stable source of income, they have unlimited educational opportunities that they can keep on advancing themselves. I think that will keep them so much busy that they will distance themselves and they will distance themselves from all these social vices, all these agitations and upbringings, kidnapping, violence, banditry, and so on and so forth, and all these negative acts that is been happening. When do you engaged? When the government bring them close, when other organizations, the private stakeholders bring them on board, discuss with them, they understand their own needs, and they make impact on them. I think it will be much more easier for the Nigerian to be on a steadfast development.
Thank you very much, Kabir, for your input and insight on this topic. We do appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much.
Yes. So, because of time, we'll have to let him go. Mohammed has been discussing on the negligence, the danger of youth negligence in Nigeria, the impact it has, and possible solutions that can be in place to bring the youth closer, and to, of course, the youth are the future of tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow is here already. So, we'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we have much more interviews lined up for you. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. See you after the break.